maybe.
Welcome to The Other Side of the Bridge with Iron City Paranormal, where they discuss real investigations, first-hand experiences, unexplained moments, and everything that happens when you step off the regular path and onto the other side of the bridge. Just honest paranormal talk, Iron City Paranormal style. And now, here are your hosts, Derek Smith and Dan Metelsky.
There are moments when curiosity urges us to take a leap of faith, even when we have no idea what's waiting ahead. A bridge is the physical embodiment of our curiosity taking over, allowing for our passion for the unknown to drive us forward. A bridge is where we leave solid ground behind, and for a moment we're suspended. Suspended between what we understand and what we don't. The transition between where we feel safe and where we lose control of our own destiny. Tonight, we're crossing that bridge together. Welcome to the other side of the bridge. We're not here to tell you what to believe. We're here to walk with you across the bridge and into the unknown. Welcome back. Episode 7.
Then we're getting up there.
We are, and we need to find right, like there's like fans, right? We don't want to call them fans. We need to call them like Iron Cityettes or something. We need to come
Iron
up
Cityites.
It's like Swifties, but way cooler.
San Diegans.
We'll come up with something. So welcome back to the other side of the bridge, episode 7. Tonight we are kind of going off the cuff a little bit, and we are focusing where we spend a lot of time focusing, but doesn't get any attention in our investigations, in our write-ups in the investigation, and I would argue it's one of the most important parts of an investigation, which is how we prepare ourselves.
Oh, it's absolutely vital. I mean, it's vital to everything that we do. I mean, from the start to the finish, you know, it's a lot of this stuff that we're going to be talking about. Like, nobody sees it unless you're in it. You know, it's the research side of things. It's even, you know, finding the locations. There's a lot that goes into these things, you know, even to the day of, you know, we up until maybe 2 years ago, we were running wires all over buildings and spending hours upon hours just, you know, wiring up these headquarters bases, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, it sucked.
It was horrible.
We got caught up in all the TV show hype of what makes an investigation, and we were like proud of ourselves for running 500 feet of cables.
Yeah, right. Like, that's not
cameras, and we wasted half the night doing it, and it was just not fun anymore.
Yeah, that was not at all the point of it, but that's what it became. And Aaron, you were not around for that.
I was not.
Thank God, Aaron. You would have hated us so much.
Yeah,
like
you
we
wouldn't
were
still
tripping
be
over wires in the middle of darkness, and it was awful.
Well, and at the end of it too, the cleanup, it's a whole nother. Don't even go there.
Oh, but on that note, I mean, this part of the investigation, which is the preparation, there is so much that goes into it. And again, it's stuff that happens behind the scenes. Nobody sees it, but we've kind of honed our craft, so to speak, doing what we do for the last, 10 years. And when we look at how we prepare, we have to take into effect some very big points that really go into making an investigation successful when we're actually doing the investigation, which is the safety of ourselves. Not talking about the wires that we run and not falling over them and everything, but like how we prepare ourselves mentally and spiritually prior to an investigation. That is a big focus for us. Another part that we really have to focus on is the integrity of what we collect. Right? We need to make sure that what we collect is done in its truest form. We don't fake anything. We don't provoke anything. That's what we mean by professional or evidence integrity, right? But we also need to maintain clarity. with ourselves, so that we can, go to that next level and get more out of the investigation, from a personal perspective. And then we also have to be very prepared emotionally, right? And I know that that's something that, Aaron, you had, when you came on board with things, that emotional readiness is something that I had not ever factored into it. But then after you joined us, it was something that, you made very apparent to me. So, all those things I want to talk about on this episode tonight.
Absolutely.
So I'm very excited to get into this. So let's start with the standard issue stuff, right? The standard issue stuff being the stuff you'd expect, right? The batteries, the hundreds of batteries that we have
The
to
equipment.
charge and make sure that it's all running. And then the equipment inventory and making sure that stuff works. Like, that's the boring stuff, but we do have to get it off of the list here.
Yeah, but you know what? If we don't do it, how many times, especially early on, did we, like, in the middle of an investigation, run out of batteries or not have something charged and straight up weren't able to use it? And it was like, what do we do now? And we completely took ourselves out of it.
I always want to point out, I don't remember which investigation this was. Derek, you might remember. There have been times we know that things are completely fully charged and something zaps the energy out of something multiple times in a row, right? Yeah. I know that that's happened with our cameras whenever we have really intense interactions. It's happened with flashlights that we have. Like, we know because you guys, especially your charging stations are when you guys get this going, like, everything has been charged completely. And so when you turn a flashlight on and it dies immediately, we know that that's, that there's something else, especially if it's happening 2 or 3 times in a row, once we're replacing those batteries or whatever. Like, that's also a part of the evidence that we're collecting, which is kind of fascinating when that happens.
But yeah, I mean, you think about it too. That's one of those things that we can note. We can note that those things, the batteries had drained and, power had died on this or that, or the camera died. But if we don't have that repetition there, and we don't have that, we're not sure that, did we charge it? I don't know, maybe not. So you can't count on that then. So that's where that clarity comes into it again.
Yeah.
It's actually really funny. That's what I was thinking, Derek, right what you said at the end. When we first started, we didn't have that. We couldn't, when a battery died, we were like, wait, did we charge that? I think we
exactly.
didn't. Like 90% of the time it was our own doing and our own stupidity. So we had to kind of filter that noise out, so to speak, in the investigation.
Yeah, and anymore, I mean, honestly, I have a charging tower in my office that I just, it's there for
you're way more prep. You're way more prepped than I am. I dig stuff out of our case every single time and try to find every single wire and try to make sense of it like it's the first time. I'm not a prepper by any means.
I mean, at this point, it's like awful. whatever way we can do it, that's how it's got to be done. But yeah, I've everything set aside. That way I can know in the moment, like, yes, this is charged. This is ready to go. I'm going to pack it up and it's fully charged.
Mm-hmm.
So I honest to God, I think if we didn't do paranormal investigations, I bet you our monthly electric bill would be, I would bet probably $50 a month cheaper because of the number of batteries, the size of the batteries that we have. Like, there is a lot of juice moving through those things.
Oh God, yeah.
And it hurts because it's not only, we only don't have the batteries that we know we're going to use, but we also have the backups.
Right.
We have so many redundant battery packs that we don't even use half the time, but they have to be there just in case.
Well, we've learned our lessons through those things. Yeah. And when we're on the move at a bigger location, we have no choice but to take those with us and, have them in our backpack or have them, at least on us somewhere. When you get into a smaller location, it's not as big of a deal. But when it comes down to it, and we need these things, how many of these battery backups do we have? I think probably about a dozen of them, right? So we have them there and we have them ready, and it's we learned our lesson. I think it was Ohio State Reformatory when we had everything in the entry spot It's like, okay, it's laid out here. It's good. We can come back and recharge. That place was huge.
I think that place was actually what spurred us to buy the fishing vest that we used to pack everything.
I think that's where it started. That's right.
Because it was huge, and there were 106 people there that night. Wow. And
yeah, so everybody was everywhere, and I mean, but once we started having these battery backups, and then that moves into like the next segment of the cameras. We leave stationary cameras there, and we have to have these battery backups there just in case. So when these cameras die, man, there is something sucking that juice out of it, because not only does it have the battery, like the camera battery, but it has these backup powers too that go into it.
Yeah.
And I mean, on top of that, then you have like our IR lights that are charged by them, and so all these backups and all these different things, they definitely play into it, and they're necessary.
Well, in that token, like when you're talking about the spirits taking power over the batteries, it's like it's almost like our batteries become equipment for us, right? Mm-hmm. We purposely set up EMF pumps that are producing an electromagnetic field for the spirits to munch on, so to speak, right? And to like suck up in their nummy mouths and like make these little ghost like things with it, like their power, so to speak. So we provide them batteries to do the same thing, right? Like they come over here to the ghost buffet in this battery pack that I spent $30 charging today.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at these things, man, I remember we opened one of them up just because we were curious. But the amount of power that goes into these things, I mean, I think it's 8 batteries, 4 on each side, and then on the inside of them, you have the crystals and the magnets spinning, just emitting this huge range of energy. I mean, I love this piece of equipment, to be honest with you, but it's a lot. It gives off a lot, and but it takes a lot too.
Yeah. So what other kind of equipment is in our inventory here?
I mean, at this point,
we use basic stuff. We use the fancy stuff, right?
None of it. Point, you name it, we got it.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, we've talked about it before, though. Like, I know we like the things that are kind of not meant for ghost hunting, right? Mm-hmm. Like for example, the K2 meters, right? Mm-hmm. They're not meant for ghost hunting. Right. I mean, they're not created and set forward to be ghost hunting equipment, but they just kind of have been. they've been taken over, but it's still a piece of equipment that specialists like electricians will use in their field to trace wiring. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the more reliable ones. But then you're saying, like, you're talking fancy yet efficient. With some of the stuff that we've caught. The thermal cameras, mm-hmm. also a very wonderful piece of equipment.
Very wonderful.
Not meant for ghost hunting.
Yep. Yeah, and that's I know we've talked about that before, but I think it's worth repeating, right? There is that seed of doubt. And when you investigate if there is a seed of doubt on whether or not it is paranormal or it is something that you are yourselves creating, to me, it loses credibility.
Sure.
Right? It loses the integrity behind the evidence. So we have to make sure that what we see is what we get. And I will say that I've gotten better with some things by the devices proving themselves a little bit to us, like the Ovilus device, like the SLS at times, but we always have to take those things with a grain of salt, which is why we always look for redundant verification, right? We always, if one thing says that there's something, let's show it with another before we're going to go with it.
Right. I mean, it's almost imperative to have that secondary too, to back up the fancy equipment.
I feel better about what we get whenever we can we can have that redundancy to it, and we can verify what one device sees with another. That's just, to me, that's what sells it, right?
Sure. Now, I do have an example here I wanted to show.
Mhm.
I'm gonna toss it up here real quick.
Here. Yeah, there you go. Both of them went off. Did you see that? Yeah.
But so what that's showing right there was a spirit light. Now, or the spirit light. What do you paralight spirit light?
Paralight. Yep.
I love the thing, but to your point, like it's meant and built for ghost hunting. I mean, that's what it's made for. But in the clip that I just showed, and I'll toss it up again, what you can see in that clip is the spirit light lighting up with another piece of equipment. I believe there's a K2 meter with it. So when there's energy impacting multiple pieces of equipment, I think that makes it more credible and reliable for that instant to be and some kind of experience.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Here. Yeah, there you go.
and we just had something when we did the pizza shop recently, Caliente, right? That paralight we were just talking about doesn't go off very much, right?
No, it does not.
And we had a Sabrina who was unable to join tonight. She was getting on to the presence of a female spirit on the second floor that was in an argument, when she was around, and has left an imprint on the space. And we thought that we were interacting with that spirit that she was picking up on with that paralight, because it was going bonkers, if you remember. Like, it was freaking out.
Yeah, it was going crazy.
Yeah.
And we were all about it, but then when we looked into it, and here we are with that validation of evidence, we found out that it was too closely located to a mess of wires plugged into one outlet. So the closer we got to it, the more it was going off. So we had to disregard that, what we thought was evidence at the time. So it's always stuff that we have to verify before we just go with it.
Well, not only that, but we have to be aware of the surroundings and the environment that we're in. I mean, like you're saying, in the pizza shop, we know it's a fully wired, fully functional, past inspections kind of restaurant. So it's going to have all of the electrical. It's going to have all the outlets there. It's going to have everything working. Whereas if you get into, for example, Lake Shawnee, where we actually used some trigger objects there, we were able to kind of get out in these fields. You're not going to have electric interrupting any of this stuff. So it's not, you don't have that same thing to have to worry about,
Yeah. And something that as of, the last, 20, maybe 30 years tops, one thing that we have to contend with that the Lorraine and Ed Warren maybe didn't have to do back in the 70s is Wi-Fi. Like, there is Wi-Fi signals everywhere. And those Wi-Fi signals wreak havoc on EMF detectors. And probably half of our stuff is electromagnetic field based.
Right. If you recall the residence we did in Zealy and Opal, we were picking up something in the middle of the floor when we realized that there was Wi-Fi running right under it, because it was some kind of shop had their utility
shop or something like that.
They had their utility room right under it. So it comes down to kind of knowing the space and really not doubting yourself, but knowing that there's something there that you do need to be aware of, and you do need to, I mean, that's part of what we do when we go into these things. We've said it before. How many times do we try to debunk something before considering it unexplained? I mean,
and that's like part of the process too. Whenever we're actually in there, those things go off, and being an observer of the way that you guys work too, your first instinct isn't, oh, let's dive into this more. It's, oh, let's figure out what's going on, make sure it's valid first, and then figure it out from there, right? It immediately becomes a back and forth, trying to figure out where power sources are, what's below, what's above, what's around, try to figure out if it can be explained, if it's valid, and then moving on from there. It's not like, okay, we continue to dive in and immediately like jump 2 feet in. It is all evidence-based in the moment, trying to figure it out, debunk it, or explain it before moving forward.
And I'm glad that you see that, because I know you're not
Every
all
day.
about the equipment. I know
No.
you're not.
No, I
But
avoid it,
that's also not
honestly.
why you're in
Yeah.
it. You know, like that you don't use, that's not your tool.
Right.
But so that's actually cool to hear you say that, to realize that we're
Yeah.
taking those
There's
steps.
a very, very clear process with both of you when that happens. Like it's instinctual that immediately you're trying to understand what's going on outside of whether it's paranormal or not and validate it in the moment before you move forward.
And I think that comes down, what's your term, Dan?
Debunkable.
Not
Not that one. Different one.
not
I've
that
got a lot
one.
of the skeptical believer.
skeptical believer. That's it. Yep. Toss it in our dictionary. It's that I love it, because you know you have to be. If not, everything's going to be a ghost. Then you're going to turn a corner and there's going to be a creaky floor. Up there's a ghost right there. You know, how many times when we do residentials do we end up tracing their entire place, because we have to know where the electrical outlets and wires and everything are, you know.
The process is annoying.
It can be, absolutely.
It is such a pain in the dupa, like to go through these places and try to figure all this stuff out ahead of time. It's boring, and I just want to like start talking to ghosts and know that they're ghosts. But I want to get to this, like, because Derek and I talk so much, and I apologize, Aaron. The to me, the most impressive piece of equipment that we have is you, right?
I appreciate that. That's fun.
It truly is, and I want to get into your setup process, because it's one thing to check batteries and to, you know, make sure things are charged, but I am so interested in how you as a sensitive prepare yourself.
Okay, so there's a lot of things that I do, and I don't know, Dan, I know you're sensitive as well to see like kind of if you do any of these same things, but just like you guys, like I have a stressful job that takes my full energy and emotion and everything during the day, week, whatever. In the lead up to our investigations, like my prep for that leading up to it starts a couple days ahead of time, where I'm really starting to like nail down my meditation, start clearing and like centering in my chakras again, like clearing my chakras, making sure they're moving, like really refocusing all of my energy where I feel like it needs to be. I'm clearing out my crystals, making sure they are cleansed and charged, making sure that like if I'm having anything coming to me ahead of time, that I'm writing it down or focusing on it to kind of have it in a back pocket. Now, we were supposed to have an investigation this past weekend that we ended up having to reschedule, but I really did start doing that same thing this last time, where I have like, I've already started making notes in my journal that like, hey, these are some things that I'm starting to note here, and making sure I have all of my crystals were sitting in the window, you know what I mean? Getting cleansed and charged. But it really is like kind of putting myself mentally in that space, trying to clear, trying to ground. Because there's a very different, like I'm an empath just like you guys, you know what I mean? So like there's a lot of my energies is pulled in a bunch of different ways. So like trying to pull those tendrils of energy back so that I can use it to focus on what we're doing is really key for me to be able to focus. I know there have been some investigations where I haven't done that and I felt so disconnected and like I couldn't tap into anything. And it was really disheartening. Like where were we at? There was a library that we went to that I was like just totally disconnected.
That was Andrew Bain, and you could tell. You could tell right from the get-go.
Like, I was just getting so frustrated because I was just like, I was not mentally there because I didn't prepare for it. Like a couple of days leading up to it, I just thought like, hey, I'll bring my crystals and it was one of the first investigations that we did really, you know, that I was on with.
It was. And I'm just going to tell you, Aaron, I get really sad when I can tell you're not in it, because I gain so much out of you just being connected to things, and then you and I bouncing things. Like you just within the last week said you're getting your journal back out. I was so pumped about that, because you had you and I had some really phenomenal interactions in a private with that.
Yeah, I had that really thought where it's like start doing that writing again, because that was crazy when you guys can do the back and forth. You write something down and Dan can say it, and it's like, how is that possible? But I love seeing it when that kind of stuff goes together.
Well, it's fun too because like I'm still really at the beginning of my journey as a sensitive too, and like understanding what that is. So it's really validating for me as well to be able to pull those things and write them down and then have Dan sit there and validate it. You know what I mean? Like it kind of reaffirms to me that like it's not all in my imagination, right? Like that's something that we deal with as sensitives all the time. Like, is it our imagination? Well, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, so we're gonna hit the ad break here, and then we're gonna get into the research that goes into investigations, how we protect ourselves going into investigations, how we work with our sensitive energies, you name it. Stick with us. The second half of this episode is gonna be fun.
The truth, it's out there, and it's waiting for you. The Unexplained Network is your source for the best in paranormal programming, live video streaming, and audio streaming from hauntings, UFOs, Bigfoot, cryptids, and the ever-expanding realm of the unexplained. Listen live or on demand now on Spreaker, Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeart, and Pockets all over the World Wide Web. The Unexplained Network, where unexplained lives. The new book, How to Research a Haunted House by paranormal investigator Margie Kay and professional researcher Violet Wisdom, is now available from Unex Media. This one-of-a-kind book explains how to do research on a house with uncommon methods and resources used by historic home researchers, and how to determine who may be doing the haunting and why. How to research a haunted house can be used by homeowners, renters, investors, and it should be in the library of all professional paranormal investigators. Get this unique book at unexmedia.com or amazon.com. That's unexmedia.com or amazon.com. Every ghost story and creature feature lies a far more terrifying truth. The real monsters wear human faces. In the chilling book, All Monsters Are Human, from Derek Smith, 10 Twisted Tales expose the darkest parts of the human soul. From killers hiding in plain sight to obsessions turned deadly. Each story invites you to step into a shadowed world where morality unravels, and the only thing more terrifying than what lurks in the dark is who. These aren't just horror stories. They're reflections of ourselves, showing what happens when fear, rage, guilt, and desire take control. Visit unexmedia.com for more information on All Monsters Are Human from Derek Smith. And you can purchase them at amazon.com from unexmedia.com.
Derek, your wheelhouse is the history leg of this, right? We've and I apologize that I said this so many times, but I called you I called you spiritually stupid for a long time. You are no longer spiritually stupid. I will tell you that you've honed your craft there. But really, where you've shown your true value for the very beginning has been the research and development, so to speak, prior to going in. So walk us through what you do there.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what's drawn me in from the get-go. Like right off the bat, the research of these places, the history of all of them are incredible to me. They're just a draw in their own right. And every location we go to, even if I think that I know something about it, some of the stories, it's only scratching the surface. But every location is so different. There are the well-known locations where stories, from, like we were talking at the Ohio State Reformatory, you got Mansfield, you got places like Gettysburg. All those places, there's a lot of well-known stories, both historically and paranormally. But then we start, and I think we've kind of hit our niche here, when we've started to do lesser known places, places that require more work up front, because there's less researched about it. There's less known. Just, old buildings that have kind of been passed down from family to family or transitioned from one thing or another. But so really, right off the get-go, depending on what it is that we're looking at, if it's a well-known location, there's a lot of material to look into. Most of these well-known locations have their own websites with their own history documented on it because they have a history background. There's most of them are preserved from some historical society or another, which good and bad with that, right? I mean, they've kind of taken it upon themselves to figure out their own story, document it, and publicize it. If they're not all right, that's where you get into problems. We've actually experienced that. I don't want to say the location, but where a place thought they knew their history, and then we're starting to get all this information, paranormally speaking, that lines up with something different than their history was said. And I mean, Dan, I know you know which place we're talking about here, but they tried to argue with us about what happened there. It's like, okay, you write your own history then, that's fine. So good and bad, definitely. But with the lesser known locations, you really we got to go the extra mile to go to find anything out. Most of the
or
time,
you just have to have a Derek.
Yeah.
I don't have to go the extra mile. I just call you. I'm like, Derek,
just
do this.
Give me the address and we'll start there.
It's actually, it has creeped me out so many times before how much in a short amount of time you can dig up on a place. Like, you can tell me the fourth person that lived there, what a list of their fears were when they were 12 years old, and what color pants they wore on Thursdays. Like, it's the weirdest thing.
You need to have the right guy to go to, and there's back corners. You don't want to talk about it too much, but no, there's a lot of digging that goes into that. A lot of the things like the deeds and the actual documented history of places are documented online most of the time through just the county websites or whatever, and that's all well and good, but then you have to go the step further and start looking at what the land was before there were buildings there. I mean, there's a lot of times where we're like, okay, this was a house, and then it was a house, that's great, and then it was a restaurant, but then you start finding out.
And it was a house, and then it was a house again.
It was a residence, then a restaurant. But before that, what is it? What was it? What did it start as? What was the land? What kind of natives were there? There was a coal mine there before, and then there were tragedies with coal mines. I mean, we could do a whole episode on coal mines that we found out. I mean, how many of those places have we ended up finding out?
Spoiler alert, we will.
I mean, honestly, how many times have we been like, oh my god, there was a coal mine here, and there was a cave in, or there was a disaster.
Yeah.
And I got a taste of that when we went to Gettysburg this last time. We went to a location that had history to it, but we were kind of surprised by it on our way out there. The owner or the property manager had messaged us and said that we had to bring some evidence with us to suggest that we had done some research on the place to try to further the story and the research collecting like documented history of the location. So I think I was kind of bummed out at first because it sounded boring as hell.
I was too.
Yeah.
Like, because we found out that they wanted something like, yeah, we did our research, we did our online digging, we had everything kind of written down and typed out, but they're like, well, we want something in writing. It's like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And we literally found that out on our drive there.
Yeah. And at first it was kind of off-putting for me. I'm not going to lie. Like, this is the Rainworth Lodge in Gettysburg. And I was kind of off-put by it because it seemed like, and I think this is where you were at as well, Derek, is it kind of seemed like lazy ownership, right? It was like, okay, we're going to pay you to come there, but we're also going to do all of this work. But I'll tell you what, like, after we went to the Historical Society and dug into this stuff, it was fascinating.
Aaron, I think you would have loved it.
I would have been in my glory. Yeah, that sounds great.
Adams County Historical Society, they were incredible. It felt
sounds
like we were in a movie or a TV show. Like we went into this library, you had two guys behind the desk. They're like, all right, what location are you looking for? You have a name, you have a date. And so we just started with one thing, right? We started with the name, like the property name and the address. They bring out books and stacks of folders on it. And
I'm just imagining Derek right now with like the heart eyes emoji. Like that's all I see right now in my head.
Dude,
like,
I love
oh my goodness.
It was so cool.
Yeah, he was in his glory. And I loved seeing you like that because and then there's me and Chris, was the guy named Chris with us, and it was just we were not in our element at all. Like where our expertise in the whole thing stopped was we could read, right? I mean, that was really all we had. And like by the time we left there, Chris and myself and new Derek, like we were so into it. Like if we could have gone 3 more hours, we would have, but they closed, so we had to leave.
But yeah, we had these folders just lined up on these big library tables, right? I mean, where you can fit like 6 chairs side by side, and we had it filled out with all these papers, and we were able to put the history together. We found out things that from old newspapers and articles that I couldn't find online.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm glad that we went the route that we did. Yeah. But it was incredible.
So, Dan, having dove into it like you did there, now keeping in mind that Derek does this insane research before, insanely intricate research before, and when he puts together a document, he will immediately tell us because he knows that we don't want to have this information before we go into an investigation. He will tell us where the information starts and we don't read any further. Dan, you normally go into investigations without having or leaving out as much information as possible so you can go in as blind as possible. How do you feel going and doing that research with Derek affected when you went in to do your first investigation there?
So it didn't. And I'll tell the reason that it didn't was we didn't lead with the information that we collected.
Okay.
Right.
True.
We
kept it in our kind of our back pocket.
Yeah. We didn't say like, I think one of the names that we had dug up was Sarah. Right. And there's the last name, but I just don't recall.
Sarah and El Sueno were the two that we were like, at least in my mind, I was like in the back of my mind, I'm not going to bring it up. I'm not going to talk about it, but it's there.
So we didn't initiate the conversation by saying, Sarah, are you here? Right. Like we would specifically ask like, who is with us? And then at one point we had several names, but one of them was Sarah. And then when we got that lead, then we kind of dug at it, right? We just kind of like flushed it out a little bit just because we knew it was.
You knew it was there. You knew it was included.
Yeah, we knew it was there. We knew it was included, but we knew that there was substance to it. It wasn't just something like a fly by night, misinterpretation of a spirit box recording or something like that. It was something that had substance. And if we could press it a little bit just to get some answers out of this Sarah, then we could validate that it was Sarah because we had information behind it, right? But it's very different whenever Derek and I do an investigation together versus when Derek and I do an investigation with you, right? Because you bring in a much more honed craft, so to speak, on your sensitivity, where I'm learning it, you're a little bit more honed. So I can leverage both of you, and I like play the monkey.
You're right in the middle, yeah.
You do, yeah.
And you like toss things back and forth, and I love being in that position. I'm in like a Dan and Aaron sandwich, or Derek and Aaron sandwich, like a really paranormal is. Like BLT, right?
It really is
paranormal.
Like Derek on one side, I'm like you know what I mean, and you fall right in the middle, Dan. I think that's absolutely true. It's fantastic though, like
it works.
You know what I mean? Like it works. It works really well.
And it does. And the more we investigate with each other, the stronger that connection gets, right? And the stronger that connection gets, the more valuable our evidence is.
Yeah.
So that's why I say, like, I get sad whenever one of us is off our game during an investigation. And I'm off my game at times. Derek is, Aaron is, like, we're all off of our game at times. But the important part is that when we get into investigation mode, we typically can bring it in, right?
Yeah.
We can really fix it quickly with the help of each other.
Mhm.
But I think that I like to think that as much value as we get, the spirits get as well.
Yeah.
Right. This sounds cheesy as heck, but it's the truth. Like I want to bring value not only to ourselves, not only to people that follow us, not only to people that, follow our social media, follow our website, but I also hope that these people or these spirits that we're interacting with are getting something out of it as well.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel good. Whether it's that true or not, I don't know, but it makes me feel good at least.
Those intentions are there. That's what's important with all of it, right?
That's exactly right. And
Yeah.
having the wrong intention will bring the wrong things to you.
Mhm.
Right. It's like Ouija boards, right?
Yes.
If you dig a Ouija board out and you start messing around with it, your intent is to have something extreme happen. And whether it does or not, I can't answer that because I've never actually used one and I refuse to. But to me, the intention is to just allow anything into your life. And that sounds like a very dangerous thing.
Yeah, it's an opening. I mean, that's a whole different ball game as it is. But yeah, I don't think that we've ever touched anything like that. We don't want to.
No.
But I think now that we're talking about it, I think we should do an episode on the Ouija board because I think that would be really cool to deep dive into.
I would like to have somebody that actually uses them,
just to see their perspective. She had fiddled with them a little bit. I think.
Yeah, but I think that was, and I don't want to put words in her mouth or anything, but I think she said that was before she really started honing her craft.
Oh, maybe.
I believe, but I could be wrong.
Well,
if there's anybody out there that uses Ouija boards on a regular basis or anything, hey, reach out to us because we are interested. Because we typically don't want to. It's not something that we ever really mess with. We never want to touch it. So hey, reach out to us if you do, and we want to talk.
Put it in the comments, right? Let's hear how you use, if you are using it, how you're using it.
Yeah, please do. We'll have you on. We'll have you on to our little fun little show that we have going here. I am not a fan of pooping my pants, so I tend to want to stay away from the Ouija boards because I guarantee you that there will be soiled underpants when I'm done.
Yeah.
No matter how many times I've seen a ghost and how many times I've talked to a ghost, I will poop my pants. So let's not do that. Nope. So, Aaron, I want to dig into a little bit more. I'm so fascinated by your process, by your the way that you ground yourself, the way that you limit things coming into you, all of those things. And the reason I'm so infatuated by it is not only it's a selfish reason because I want to learn from it and I want to do the things that you do and kind of replicate you because you're super effective. So can you I want you to dig into a little bit more on your preparation as far as your when we go into an investigation, how you do what you do a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you guys know, and I'm sure people that are listening don't know this yet, but you guys know how much I love my crystals. The more that I get into them, the more I learn about them, the more they speak to me so much. I really feel like for me personally, I have a deep tie to nature. I love being out in the garden. I love anything green. I love playing with rocks. Anything that can connect me, which really, whenever you start looking into grounding and different things like that, like being able to ground in nature, is really important. So I'm able to take my crystals, use the crystals, and where did you guys go? I'm sorry.
We're here.
Oh, we're here.
Derek was just spotlighting.
I was just putting you. I was spotlighting you. I was giving you your moment.
Remember how we talked about them?
I could tell I threw you off.
Different parts out. Can we? Really weirded me. I was like, where do I keep talking?
Now I know that I'm not going to press that button anymore.
Don't do that button.
I don't understand what just happened. Oh my goodness.
I was giving you your moment in the spotlight.
I'm not like that.
Your face was giant.
Oh God! Now we messed up the recording part. Okay.
So the grounding.
So the grounding, yeah. So it really has to, and it depends on what's going on in my life, right? Like if I'm feeling out of control or I'm feeling my anxiety through the roof for whatever reason, like there are specific things that I need to use in order to ground myself before I can start like centering in on where some of those things are. I have a lot of crystals that I use for that. One of the ones that I have, Derek, that I use for it is your green moss agate that you gifted to me.
Yes.
I use this all the time for that. Like that helps a lot. But yeah, it's really just like regrounding, making sure I'm grounded, and then just clearing. I really have to clear. I just live with, just like I'm sure you guys do, I just like live with my chest full of anxiety. Like if I'm able to clear that out, it becomes a lot easier. But really like leading up to when we like jump into an investigation, it's really figuring out like not every investigation is the same. Like we're not using, just like we use different tools for every investigation. Like I'm using different crystals every time we go. There are some times that we're going that like my lapis lazuli is what I'm using that constantly, or I'm using my super 7, or I'm using, different, like I'm honing in on different crystals. I remember in particular, there were a couple investigations that we did that I used one particular crystal and I loved it. And then I showed up at our next investigation. I was like, this is not right. And I literally didn't pick it up the whole night. It's really just feeling the energy in the space and figuring out like where we are there as a team, and then like where I am centered to figure out how to utilize those to best like assist me to keep myself together and like not crazy.
So what does that mean? Like when you have a crystal and you go in and you're like, this one's not right for this space. Like, how do you know that?
There's an energy to it. Like there's literally like, there's like an ick factor almost. Like this one is not the right one. Like I go, and you guys know, I come with my little camera bag and I've got my whole collection of all the rocks, and I'm normally bringing anything that's blues are really good. Obviously the purples, clears, anything like that is really good for the particular sensitivities that I have. Some that I also use too, like I have a pink calcite. I'm really nervous about, like, I'm self-conscious about what I say. So like, I'll make sure that I have an amethyst on me and a pink calcite that's going to like really allow me to believe in myself and believe in what I'm saying and give myself positivity along with everything else. But it really is just like feeling the energy of the stone, feeling the energy that we have between us, and like feeling the energy of the space to figure out which crystal is the right crystal to use at that moment that's going to help keep my energy grounded and keep my intentions true to what we're trying to do. Right? Like we go into a space that I feel uncomfortable. Like whenever we were at, where was the one that I ended up leaving because I felt
Green County.
That was Green County. Yeah.
Green County, right? So at that particular one, I started the night with a lot of my blue stones. By the end of the night, I was rubbing I had which one was it that I was there? I had one of my black stones that like I dropped all my blue stones because I didn't want to hone into anything, and all I was doing was carrying protection with me because I felt so uncomfortable and so attacked at that moment that like I didn't want to open myself up to anything. It was all protection. Or like if we are in a space and I'm feeling like a lot more of the feminine energy, like a lot of the times I'll go more towards like the purples and pinks and some of like the angelite and those kind of like lighter blue stones that for me are tied closer to like a more gentler feminine energy that I'm able to hone into. But a lot of that, like I'm saying that now, but a lot of it is intuitive when we're there. Like I'm not really going through and thinking super intensely about this when we're there. It really is just like feeling the feel of the energy and like what feels right. Have you ever picked up a crystal and you can feel the energy is not right? Like if you're holding two of the same types of crystals in your hand, you can tell like they
just feel like it's off. Like something just
like
doesn't feel
so
right
like if
it.
you go to a crystal store and you're going to pick out a crystal, they always tell you to go touch the crystals that you want to see which one's calling to you. And there's a lot of times like if you go to a bucket of angelite and you pick up a whole bunch of them, you can pick them up one by one and feel which ones are connecting with your energy. I've had it where I pick something up and I can feel a buzzing in my hand and I'm like, nope, this isn't the right one. Like I can feel the energy go down my arm. Have you ever felt that? I mean, you're
no. So I'm going to tell you, I'm not that good right? So I will look at a stone. I'll be like, "Ooh, green's pretty." Right? That's kind of like I'm very lizard brain when it comes to
But at the same time,
stones like
that's your intuition, though, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
regardless of what it is, that's still
Exactly.
what that is.
Like I don't want to be that pompous and be like, "Oh no, that's my clarity or that's my spiritual presence." I just think it's pretty. I like green.
And
It's like
sometimes
I
that's
like
all it is.
turtles.
Sometimes
Right?
you're looking at a whole bucket of stones and you're like, ooh, I like that one. And you can say like, oh, I'm going to look at the other ones. But if your eye keeps on continuing to be drawn to that one, that's the one that you're supposed to go to, right? So it's that same idea. Like, yeah, absolutely. It's the same idea. Like, I know we have done a lot. Like, I have a crystal shop that's nearby that I'm able to get lots of crystals from. You guys have as well, that we're getting like bulk crystals from. And I'll get these bags and bags, like, 5-pound bags of palm stones or whatever. And you're able to go through each one. And I can say like, this is mine. This one needs to go to my mom. This one needs to go to my sister. I'm going to give this one to X, and like, you can just feel that energy there. It's the same thing when we're on an investigation. Like, I can look at all my blue stones and be like, oop, that's the right one. That's the one that I need.
Is that why when you pick up the bulk ones that I buy and they come back like 2 pounds lighter than what I purchased? Because you're like, you must have felt them all and been like, ooh, this 2 pounds feels like it's mine.
Yes.
Yeah.
I may have stolen a crystal or two. It's fine. It's fine.
Hey, no, it's fine.
It just fell out of the bag. It's fine.
It's fine. But hey, I mean, like, it's like anything, right? It's if the stones make you feel more empowered, then the stones make you feel safe, right? I carry crystals, even though I don't have a personal connection with it. I've never taken like my black kyanite out to dinner or anything, but like I have certainly felt, stronger with certain ones in my pocket. I feel like I wear a bracelet every day. That bracelet makes me feel confident. So I mean, I guess it's the same thing.
Well, I know for you, Dan, too. Yours, the one black kyanite of yours had just like was destroyed. Like
it exploded.
Was in shards, and you're like, okay, well, that's the end of that. Like,
I was so sad about that.
I've had them break too. Yeah, I've had a black kyanite break. We had one of our residential ones that we went to that was really active, and my one black kyanite that I loved broke. I had to bury it.
I see. I didn't bury
been able to find a black
yours,
kyanite that I connect with just as good yet. I'm working on it.
Mine's probably like in the dryer or something now. Like I don't even know
they do
where
just
mine
fine
is.
going through the dryer. They're rocks. They'll be fine. Mine have
that's where it's buried, is what he's saying.
Yeah, it's like in the dryer. Like it's like I have to take it and shake it upside down to get it out. Like it's dead now. But I felt very
upset,
attached to that crystal. So maybe I'm not like as much of a lizard brain, but I was just sad.
Just like everything else we say, Dan, there's so much more to you than you show.
I don't know. I think
you're the only one that doubts it.
My existence is just like cheap cologne and butter. Like that's kind of like what I do, like
that's what we do.
But I'm okay with that, I think.
Well, I know you guys look use crystals too before, like when we're at investigations. And do you guys have, like, I know we talk about cleansing them whenever it comes to the right time of the month to do that. Do you guys do anything else with yours to get ready for? I know you charge all the batteries and everything, but is there anything that you do with the crystals that we work with? I mean, a lot of them that you work with don't actually need cleansed, right? Like if you've got a black kyanite, it doesn't need cleansed.
I wait for the monthly text message from you, Aaron, that says, "Hey, full moon tonight. Put your crystals out." And
yes, but usually that starts with my question of when's the full moon.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a team game. Right? Yeah. It's a team game.
It is.
So, any parting thoughts on this one? We covered a lot, right? I mean, from like preparation of equipment, preparation of batteries, preparation of our mental clarity. Is a whole bunch of stuff. You got any? What are some parting words here for everybody?
I mean, I think at the end of the day, from start to finish, you have to be prepared for anything too. There's times where we have to push through things that aren't happening, and then there's other times where we have to be prepared for everything to come at us at once. So there's on top of the equipment, on top of knowing what you're getting into going into it, from a mental standpoint, you have to kind of be level-headed, knowing that not to be completely let down if you get nothing, and you have to be prepared for that, and you have to be prepared for everything. So it's start to finish, you know.
Well said. Look at you. I'm proud of you.
Just go
That's
with it.
great.
You know?
That's great. Well, another good episode, guys. I enjoyed that discussion.
Yeah.
That was good stuff. So, as always, every journey across a bridge leaves something behind. A question, a feeling, or a moment that lingers longer than expected. But no matter how far into the unknown we wander, there comes a time to turn back. Thank you for once again crossing the bridge with us tonight and for making the journey back safely. Until next time, stay curious, stay grounded, and remember, you can always return from the other side of the bridge. Toodles.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.